Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the review for Sketch, the feature debut for filmmaker Seth Worley. This was a fun time. Let's get into it.
What in the...
I promise I didn't want this. You're not an evil person just because you drew pictures.
I saw an eyeball with legs. When do you see that?
I know we're supposed to be scared of it, but it's kind of beautiful.
Amber was the only one doing what we're supposed to be doing, not running from the pain, but feeling it.
Watch this.
I'm happy to announce that this film is truly magic and truly wonderful. This film was made by Seth Worley, who's an independent filmmaker who I've been following for probably the last 10 to 12 years. Along with Film Riot, he kind of came up with that crew. Same thing as Film Riot with Ryan Connolly and those guys. So he's kind of a part of that ecosystem. So I've been following his career for a long time. He does a lot of stuff with Maxon, a lot of stuff with Red Giant. And so it was really cool to see him throughout the years kind of develop this concept. There's a short film that he made a handful of years ago, maybe 6 or 7 years ago now, called Darker Colors, which is basically kind of a pitch, I would assume, for what this ultimately became. So you can definitely go check out that short film. I think it's really cool to watch that. And that's kind of the way that independent filmmakers go about making movies now, is they make kind of a concept that they pitch to get a bigger film. And that's what this filmmaker, Seth Worley, did here. So Angel Studios is the one that picked this up and decided to fund this and distribute this film, which I'm glad that they did, because they seem to be a smaller studio that's kind of rising in the ranks and is taking more risks on more independent voices, which is what I think we need in the filmmaking industry. Yes, we all love Marvel. There's a Superman poster behind me. I love my big tentpole films. I love my Marvel. I love my DC. But I also love independent films. I love all kinds of films. I'm gonna go see Weapons, I think, tomorrow, and we're gonna go see all sorts of films because we love filmmaking. And if it's a good story and if it's well told, then I'm gonna love it. That's how I view things. So for me, this combined everything that I kind of love about filmmaking, right? It's kind of what I would do if I was a filmmaker. It would be something along these lines, very, very similar in terms of combining visual effects, my visual effects ability with my ability to tell heartwarming and emotional stories. The monsters here are very inventive, and there are some seriously dark moments here, which I was surprised about. There's one moment in particular where you're like, oh wow, like it's not afraid to go dark when it needs to go dark. And I feel like they could have pushed it even more. If I had any critique about the movie, I think it would be that. It was that he played it safe, and I don't know if that was studio notes. I don't know if that was Angel Studios telling him, you need to kind of dial this back a little bit. I think it works for what it is. For younger kids, I think they'll still be scared, but they learned an important lesson here, which is you can be yourself, and it's okay to feel bad sometimes. But you need to know that there are people that care about you and that love you and that are there for you. And I think it's a message that we all can relate to, right? Because we all kind of get into these dark spots and we all kind of feel these emotions that we sometimes don't know what to do with them. But this movie tackles that issue head on and addresses something that I think for kids, they don't really get to see in the modern filmmaking world. It's stuff that we grew up on. And this is what I think Seth does particularly, probably the best. Is kind of, because he grew up in the 90s, right? We kind of grew up in the 90s, so you feel like that's missing from the movies. And I think that this is, I don't know if this is a swing back in the more independent direction. I hope it is. I hope that we get more voices. It seems like Weapons is also kind of a new voice, so hopefully that works out. But this is somebody who I think we are hopefully going to see more of. I really hope that Seth and Angel Studios and other studios are going to now look at Seth to maybe lead and usher in the new generation of filmmakers that can tell their stories. And the world has changed so much. If you think about it, we've, even in the last 5 to 7 years, the landscape of our world and our problems that we have to deal with and everything we have to juggle and things you have to juggle as parents and things you have to juggle as kids. It's all changed so much, and we're rapidly moving into a world where you're constantly trying to keep up, right? With the world. I mean, the world is changing every second, and it feels uncontrollable sometimes. And I think that hopefully we can see more and more of these stories being told to help younger generations understand that they're not alone. With that being said, guys, if you have children, you have to see this movie with them. I think it's important. I think it's an important message that they need to learn. It harkens back to the movies that we grew up on. If you're older, right? If you grew up in the 90s, if you grew up in the 80s, this is going to speak to you. And if you have children, then you can maybe share some of that experience with them in the theater. This is very creative. This is very inventive. And this was done on the back of a filmmaker who I respect and who basically had a vision and he pushed through. I think this took him like 13 years to make or something like that. So this is an indie film, right? People are always like, oh, they don't make independent film anymore. They don't tell original stories anymore, blah, 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 blah. Well, here it is. This is your chance to go support this movie, right? And it feels like the superhero movie is kind of dipping. I love my superhero movies, if you know me. I will always support them. I will always love them. Spider-Man's coming out. They're shooting that, and I absolutely love that. So I will always love my superhero movies. There's a place for those too. But there's also a place for new voices that we desperately need. So I suggest you go see this movie. Go support this. And I haven't seen Weapons yet, but I've heard great things about Weapons. So go support Weapons. And when I release my movie, and when I finally get my act together, and I finally write and produce my movie, go see my movie wherever it plays. Because why not? But if you enjoyed this review, thank you so much for checking it out and sticking around. Please hit the subscribe button and the like button if you want to follow my journey as a fellow filmmaker, because I will be making a short film. I'm writing a short film and I'm writing a feature film. So yeah, if you are interested in the filmmaking process, I'm also doing some VFX for a short film currently that I will probably break down my process. I will go through step by step of how we shot that and how we created that here on the channel. So be on the lookout for that. A lot of great stuff coming. Harry Potter, we love that too. All sorts of stuff. That's off topic. But yeah, I greatly appreciate you guys sticking around, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.